What's going on, guys? Shonen Express here, coming to you with another weekly Shonen Jump newsletter. I'm super excited to get into this. So this week we're going over issue 2 of the 2022 cycle. So I'm super excited to get into that. We're just at the beginning of the 2022 year of weekly Shonen Jump. So I'm excited to see what we have. And so this week the cover went to Jujutsu Kaisen, and we actually got even a special chapter 2. But we'll talk about that a little later. But the cover itself I thought was pretty cool. I like, Yuji and Okotsu on the cover there. They look cool. Just kind of a normal Jujutsu Kaisen, cool characters. Looking cool kind of cover. The color page, the double page spread, I thought was interesting. It was Yuji with the 3 brothers, like cursed spirit brothers that we saw earlier in this series. I have so many questions about this, because this isn't one of those, like, Yuji's, like, does somehow people's memories are being affected to think that they are, have familial bonds with Yuji when they don't actually have those bonds. So that just brought that up to me. But the color spread itself looks really cool. I like the way that it looks. I like that Yuji's dressed in that tan. Almost sets him apart from the other 3 who are in those darker colors for the background. It's a great looking picture. But getting into the chapter itself, the bomb guy, we saw the guy who dropped his eyeball last chapter. He's cool. I like the curse technique. If this truly is a curse technique, I think it's a really interesting curse technique. I think the idea of, like, having your body parts be able to explode is interesting. What I like about this is that, like, it doesn't seem as if they come back. It seems like he might be able to regrow them, but it's not immediate. So, like, it's crazy. We see him, like, spitting teeth out and stuff like that. It's kind of gross, but it's an interesting ability. And one thing I wanted to focus on is Megumi and his treatment of the girl there, and I forget her name. But the whole time, he's pretty much treated her as a joke. She's too weak to really affect him in any way. We see that again in this chapter, that she's not a challenge for him. And I like his interactions with her, in saying, like, when are you going to learn to give up? You need to stay down. And she's like, say you'll protect me, say you're whatever. And Megumi is like, you're one of the trash that listens to people's words over their actions. Implying that, like, you should know that if you really were going to turn this around, I would be able to protect you. I'd be able to be there. But you're only listening to the words, and this, Reggie guy. Yeah, Reggie? I don't know what his name is. He's clearly tricking you into following him, and they're just going to kill you in the end anyway. I thought that was interesting. Also, Megumi is brutal in this chapter. I mean, he straight up kills the one guy, like, no questions asked, like, stabs him through the head. He's dead. He gets points from it, so we know he kills him. Megumi is insane, like, gone insane this chapter. I was really cool to see more of the fight. And then we get this guy who takes an explosion to the face. I'm super skeptical of this character. I think we're probably going to get to know this character more and more as we go forward. I think this is a good kind of yin-yang relationship, kind of like we saw with Yuji and the lawyer guy. Wow, I've already forgotten his name. That's so sad, because he's one of the best characters. But, like, this guy seems like hyper and energetic, obviously, to Megumi's more low-key nature. So I don't love this guy's design that much, so I'm a little skeptical about him. But hey, he could totally turn this around, and I could be very wrong about him, and I hope that I am. But I'm not super looking forward to that guy. But yeah, that's really all I had for the main chapter this week. It was mostly a combat chapter. It was a lot of combat going on this chapter, so that's mostly what we got. So that'll bring us to our color pages. This week we only had 2, because there was a one-shot running the magazine that we just didn't get translated by Viz. They, I guess, just didn't think it was worth giving us one-shots, which is really a shame because I wish that they would translate the one-shots, because those are super interesting for us to see and read, as we try to keep up with Weekly Shonen Jump in Japan. So I wish that they would translate one-shots. If you guys know anything about why they don't or anything like that, leave it down in the comments. I'd love to know like what happened, because they used to translate one-shots all the time. But anyway, all that being said, we have 2 color pages, and the first one went to Mashal, Magic, and Muscles. The color itself was cool, just Mash kind of charging up. I thought that it definitely looked cool. The red color looked really good. Yeah, it was a cool color page. It looked really good. Getting to the chapter itself, I thought it was interesting how the villain kind of attracted the other guy, the acid guy, to get punched in the face by Mash, and then he goes on to go into the whole speech about how everyone is there to be sacrificed for him. I thought that was it's a villain monologue. You know what I mean? It's a main kind of villain thing he's got going on there. But I love the betrayal of the acid. Like, the acid guy feels genuinely betrayed by this. Like, he didn't expect this to happen, which I kind of liked. It was a good look. We also get to see that he has 2 wands. The villain, the magnet guy, has 2 wands. The other wand allows him to do lightning magic, which is really cool. We get to see the electricity going on. He had those little balls. It was really cool to see. It's cool how Mashal integrates these different ways of using magic, right? Like, if you have 2 wands, you have a different type of magic, double lines, and then all the Segundeth, or whatever you want to call it, the evolution of your magic abilities. It's I really like the power system in Mashal. I think it's an interesting power system, based obviously very heavily on traditional magic systems, but obviously given more details than something maybe like Harry Potter or something like that. So I thought that was interesting. It was cool to see that. Cool to see that little fight. I love how Mash gets the balls in his shoes and shot puts it. Or not shot puts it, hammer throws it, is what Dot even says. Hammer throws it super far away. Great way to solve that. And then Mash's little comment at the end where he's like, "What you're saying is clearly evil, idiot." It's just so funny. I love Mashal. I think it's a great series, and I'm glad it got a color page, because it deserves it. Mashal is a really great series, so I like seeing it. But that will bring us to color page number 2, which this week went to Mission Yozakura Family. And the color page itself actually explained the popularity poll that we got in Mission Yozakura Family. And those top 3 are surprising to me. I did not expect Tayo to be 3rd. I definitely expected him to be in the top 3, but I thought he'd be 1 or 2 at the least. But for him to be 3rd, and for the 2 to beat him out to be Kengo and Shion, I didn't expect that at all. I did not know that Shion, or Kengo for that matter, were as popular as they were. They must be super popular. Let me know in the comments section who your favorite Mission Yozakura Family character is, because I did not think that these 2 were that popular. I know that Shion's been getting some more spotlight recently, but Kengo really hasn't gotten any spotlight at all, so I was very interested to see that they had won the popularity poll there. But it looked great. The color page itself, to show that, looked awesome. Great artwork. So yeah, I really like that. But getting into the chapter itself, I love the 5th head's look. I love that she's she had herself, almost entombed in the silk factory. It's a very, they comment even in the chapter, it's a very Kengo thing to do, and she even looks like Kengo. It's super interesting. I really liked the look that she had, and her abilities obviously were really cool too. But really, the main thing that we got to learn about in this chapter was about Tsubomi and the roots that she has spread throughout the world. And these roots kind of suck in this summoning power in different ways, and in different varying thicknesses throughout the world, and stuff like that. This is interesting. I think obviously another big arc that we're gonna enter into. So I'm interested to see kind of as it goes where that goes. But the main thing in this chapter for me was Mutsumi has a little bit of the blooming starting to go on right where her hair is white. And I think this has been a thing in this manga since the very first chapters, was Mutsumi's hair, that white streak in her hair, being somehow related to when her mother died and her father left. So I'm super interested to see where that goes from here. But obviously, pretty suspenseful chapter. Obviously, with that going on, I really hope Mutsumi's all right. But it was a good Mission Yozakura family chapter. Glad it got the color page, and I'm very interested to see what happens, going forward. But that will bring us to our midsection, guys. We didn't have anything new in the magazine. Nothing ended in the magazine, and One Piece was on break this week. One Piece, as I've said before, pretty much like an every other week almost cycle now. And so we're on the off week, so that makes sense. But we did get a special chapter, even though we didn't get that one-shot translated. We did get an extra chapter of Jujutsu Kaisen, and it wasn't really an extra chapter so much as it was like a special chapter. It's the main character, like, it's set like a year in the past, I guess, and it's like Okotsu and that year, like, cooking, and then they go work in a department store to earn money to buy cooking materials. When I read this, I felt like I didn't understand something. I didn't know what was going on here. If I'm missing something, like if this connects with something I know in the story, let me know in the comment section. But I didn't quite get this, and it was fine. It was just not that interesting to me, in all honesty. That's why you don't see any pictures. But moving on, this week I have 4 highlights. And so highlight number 1 goes to My Hero Academia. I feel like I had to highlight this because I actually got turned around on some things that I said last week, or I thought at least last week. Some of those things got turned around for me this week. First of all, I actually like Aoyama's reaction. I like how, like, sullen he is and how trapped he is. I think he actually is a victim here, and he's trapped in this circumstance, and I think that's valuable. And it looks really good. I like the way that it's characterized, which is contrasting to last week where I didn't actually like the way it was characterized. I didn't think this was a good twist reveal. And part of the reason I think that this really comes out on top is I love Hagakure. I think that's the Invisible Girl's name. First of all, this is the first time we get to see any of her, like what she might look like, which I thought was really cool. And she is uniquely positioned to combat Aoyama and his quirk, and she does so by reflecting the light away from Deku, saying that she's not going to let him harm anyone else, and then we get him and his family is arrested, and they're talking about this, and the kids are all talking about what to do now, and Deku and Aoyama's like, I'm a villain, there's no way I can be redeemed, and Deku's like, of course you can still be a hero. And I think that one of the things I didn't like about this, right, is I thought, 1, Aoyama was obviously the traitor, and 2, I didn't think that it added anything or furthered the goal of the story along anymore. But I actually think I was wrong about that, because I think that Aoyama's whole point is to act as like a mini arc of what ultimately is going to happen at the end of the story. I think that this same sentiment is going to happen to Shigaraki. I think Shigaraki will ultimately be turned around by Deku, and what we're seeing right now is a miniature version of that. We have a villain who clearly is broken up about it, and Deku saying that you can still be a hero, we can still save him. I do like the view of villains as victims that can be saved, right? As people that need saving too. And I think that's one of the big things for Deku and his journey in the story. And so I think that this actually served that purpose very well in showing him carrying out those ideals that he's had all this time on a bigger stage. So I actually ended up liking the twist villain reveal, at least right now. Catch me next week, see how I feel about it. But I had to highlight it because I had to bring that up. And just share with you guys my thoughts on My Hero Academia as it feels like barrels to its conclusion. But that will bring me to my second highlight, which this week is Ayashimon. I cannot stop highlighting this. This is one of my favorite manga running in the magazine right now. It's only 5 chapters long, but I think as long as it doesn't get canceled for some weird reason, I think that this is the next success. I hope with all my heart it's the next success. I hope this is as big as Jujutsu Kaisen, as big as Demon Slayer. I think it deserves that amount of clout. And so I hope that it goes super far. But talking about the actual chapter, I love Maruo. I love the main character. He's so cool. It's just, I love everything about him, right? I love, he's like, get up, and, you know, the guy's like, I'm just going to stay down here, because then you're not going to get me. I'll recover down here. And then he punches the floor so hard, the whole thing breaks. He's like, you know, if you're not going to get up, I'm going to pick you up. I love it. I love how, like, confrontational he is, but he's trying to be like this, you know, the manga hero that he wants to be. I just really love him. I love that he's like this. And then when that kid yokai that we met in the beginning of this little mini arc here says like, oh, you look like a manga hero, and how happy he gets. Oh, it's just, guys, it's so good. I really like Maruo. I really like his part in this story. Very deserving of a main character spot. It was so cool to see all of that. And then we got the revelation as Urara is kind of talking to herself. She's saying that he must be what she called a Marebito, and I might be mispronouncing that. But it's a human who comes along every so often, every, you know, like couple thousand years, who has an incredible amount of strength and ability to fight these supernatural entities. She thinks he is one of them, one of these unnatural humans that comes along every so often, and that's got to be true, right? Unless we find out something that he's somehow related to Ayashimon, I think that has to be true. He is clearly way stronger than a human ever should be, based on everything that we've seen. So I think that he's definitely whatever this is. But then, what really made me decide that I had to, well, before I get there, let's not get ahead of ourselves. First of all, I like Urara's plan. She's trying to fight. She found out who the head of the Yakuza currently is, so that she can go challenge them to the ritual duel, so we can start getting things moving along. I liked that. Made sense. It's part of the reason we're here. But then, we get introduced to the Onmyo Bureau. For those of you who are not familiar with the whole yokai Shinto thing, Onmyo or Onmyoji are like exorcists. They're like sorcerers, to the best I can understand, who exorcise yokai. They exorcise them. And so this Onmyo Bureau is acting like the police force, I guess, for the Ayashimon. I love this. This is awesome. First of all, it blends in with the whole Yakuza thing that we've got going on with these Ayashimon. They are the authorities, right? But they're like very lenient authorities, right? Kind of like the authorities were with the actual Yakuza. So I love that, and these guys are so cool. It's so interesting to see them and to see kind of the guy standing on the roof, and somehow they've frozen everyone else other than Urara. It's super interesting. I really liked seeing them. And I think that this chapter really established how small of fish Urara and Maruo are compared to the world that they're trying to take on. When they say, oh, we're going to instigate the Yakuza to go and fight them, this is clearly a threat. I think that we should understand it as a big deal and as a real problem that they are about to face. So I really like this chapter. I really love this manga. So definitely check out Ayashimon if you haven't already. It's only 5 chapters long. You can easily catch up. I'd love for more people to be reading this manga. It's super, super good. But that will bring me to highlight number 3, which this week went to Black Clover. I had to highlight it. It's so good. First of all, I love the trust that everyone has in Asta to be able to accomplish this and take out what is the craziest devil that we've seen so far. I love the confidence in that. And then the 4th sword, the thing that we've seen now from Asta do, this is awesome. It's so cool. He looked so cool. like clad in all black using Yami's blade and everything. It was really, really awesome. His speech there, we have been neglected by Mana, and so we'll choose our own path. Like, I really loved it. I loved I love, him and Lebe, or Lieb. I don't know what the devil's name is, but I love their relationship, how similar they are, and how that ended up helping the both of them. I really think it was just really cool. It was really, really cool. And his ability to cut just the things he wants to cut, that's an awesome ability. I love how Asta's swords get a little bit different with every sword, right? They do something a little bit different. And this one is, I think, the coolest one yet. I love this form. It's super, super awesome. I had to highlight it literally just for that, because this is an awesome, awesome chapter. And just a cool Black Clover chapter. If you like Black Clover, you'd love this one. So it's very good. But that will bring me to highlight number 4, my final highlight for the day, which went to Blue Box, because I have to highlight Blue Box, right? And so first of all, I love Hyodo's help. I love Hyodo and Taiki's conversation that they have. I think that was super, super cool and like really encouraging almost, especially for Taiki, who is having this conversation with him about the things he has to work on, and how Hyodo is just generally a supportive guy. I like that. I like that he is a opponent that's supportive. It reminds me almost of in Haikyuu, the Neko something, the rival school of Kurasuno. That like they were like enemies sort of at first, but then they ended up really being helpful and cool guys. I like that. I like that in sports, because I think that's real. You're not enemies when you play sports. You're opponents, but that doesn't mean you can't be friends and improve each other along the way. I love that kind of thing, and I think Hyodo's a good example of that. And I love Taiki's faith in just the steady pushing out of what he's got to do. He's so good. Taiki's so good. I love the steadiness of this character, and specifically when it comes to badminton, when it comes to the sport he plays, it's really, really good. Yeah, I like that. Also, I love Kyo saying he can't go, right? I don't know. I still have yet to decide, because we did get that little panel of him like in bed, looks like he's sick. So it's possible that this is real, like he really did get sick by chance, but I almost thought, did he do this on purpose? But I think he's actually sick, so he can't go, so it's just going to be Taiki and Hina. This is it. This is exactly what Hina wanted. I love how cool Hina plays this off, like, oh yeah, that's fine with me. Like, when in reality she's going to be jumping for joy. This is awesome. I love that she's there. And then like, he goes to buy her a candy apple because he remembers that she likes them, and there she is in the kimono, all dressed up. It's a very good chapter, and it makes me so excited to see how this goes, to see where this goes from here with the two of them, because I think this is Hina's chance to really try and have Taiki for herself. I really think that this is that time. And honestly, from a story perspective, I hope it works out. I hope that there's a moment where Taiki does go away from being obsessed with Shinatsu and starts to focus on Hina. I hope that happens. I really, really do. But it was a great chapter. I had to highlight it. I just love Blue Box. It's such a good manga. But yeah, that's the end of my highlights. So that brings us to our mentions. This week, I have 6 mentions as per usual. Undead Unluck was really good. The fight's super cool, and I loved it. Sakamoto Days, also really good. The fight in the JAA was really good. Dr. Stone, great. I love the kind of anthology of things that we've created. That's really cool. I love that we saw that. Magu-chan God of Destruction, I would say it's good, but I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is I'm disappointed that Yunaris really wasn't a villain. I was disappointed by that this week. Me and Roboco was funny, really ripped off Toriko, and I thought that was hilarious. And the Elusive Samurai, we got some good military tactics and all that kind of stuff, so that was really good too. But that's all I have for you this week. Thanks guys so much for listening to this video. If you liked anything I had to say, subscribe to the channel. I bring you these newsletters every time, and like the video and comment. I'd love to talk with you and engage with you in that way as well. But yeah, until next time, this is Shonen Express signing off.